Tyler and I had never had an easy relationship. Growing up, our parents always protected him, regardless of how many times he messed up. Meanwhile, I was expected to keep things together, stay silent, and be the bigger person. But despite my reservations, I still decided to go. Family, after all, is family. My name is Jason Carter, and a year ago, I lost the love of my life, Emily. She was brilliant, beautiful, and driven, a self-made woman who built a thriving company entirely on her own. Losing her was the hardest thing I ever faced, and the grief was still raw. So attending Tyler's wedding was not exactly high on my priority list, but I thought maybe this was his way of trying to mend fences. Perhaps this could finally be the turning point in our strained relationship. Little did I know, Tyler had different plans that would change our family forever. When I arrived, something felt off immediately. Family members gave me awkward glances. My mother barely acknowledged me, which was unusual since she usually made a fuss whenever I showed up at family gatherings. My father just patted my shoulder briefly, avoiding eye contact. It all felt strange, but I brushed it off, convincing myself I was just being overly sensitive. The ceremony itself was lovely. Tyler looked happy standing next to his new bride, Megan. She was radiant, genuinely joyful, and for a brief moment, I allowed myself to hope that my brother had finally found peace and happiness. Perhaps Tyler had matured and moved past his lifelong resentment toward me. Maybe this wedding was a new chapter for all of us. But that illusion quickly shattered at the reception. Tyler grabbed the microphone, his smile suddenly forced, almost smug. In front of everyone, family, friends, co-workers, he dropped a bombshell that hit me like a ton of bricks. He announced, loudly and confidently, that my late wife Emily had secretly left him a portion of her successful business. According to Tyler, it was only fair and right that I now hand over half of what she had left behind. The crowd erupted in applause, seemingly celebrating Tyler's revelation, while I sat frozen, stunned, feeling the ultimate betrayal unfold before my eyes. Today, I share this story because it's crucial. It's about family, betrayal, standing your ground, and finally putting a stop to toxic family dynamics. Truly understand why Tyler chose such a cruel moment to strike. You need to know our family history. Growing up, Tyler was always the baby of the family, even when he stopped being a child. No matter how many mistakes he made, no matter how many times he hurt others, our parents, especially my mother, would rush to his defense. It was as though accountability simply didn't apply to him. As the older brother, expectations on me were different. I had to set the example, sacrifice my comfort for Tyler's sake, and quietly accept blame even when he clearly messed up. It felt unfair, but for a long time, I believed that's just how families worked. I convinced myself that someday Tyler would grow out of it, become more responsible, and our family would finally find harmony. But that never happened. The older we got, the worse Tyler's behavior became. In school, he struggled academically, but it wasn't due to lack of intelligence. Tyler was smart, capable even, but he chose shortcuts instead of hard work. When things didn't go his way, it was never his fault, it was always someone else's. Often, it was mine. When I earned good grades, Tyler resented me. When I received a college scholarship, he complained loudly that the world was rigged in my favor. The bitterness only deepened as we became adults. Tyler couldn't keep a steady job, not because he lacked opportunity, but because he refused to accept responsibility. Every failed relationship, every lost job was blamed on others, especially me. Somehow, in his mind, my stable life became proof that the world owed him something more. Then I met Emily. She was incredible, driven, and fiercely independent. Emily built her own business from the ground up, nothing handed to her, nothing owed. She taught me what true partnership meant, and together we built a life filled with mutual respect, love, and support. My supports only increased Tyler's bitterness. At family gatherings, he'd often make snide remarks about how easy I had it, suggesting Emily's success somehow invalidated my own efforts. Our parents predictably ignored his behavior or gently excused it as just Tyler being Tyler. But when Emily got sick and passed away, something inside me changed. Her death devastated me, yet Tyler barely seemed affected. He didn't comfort me or show empathy. Instead, he began hinting about Emily's business, suggesting casually how much it was worth and what a great help he could be if I shared the wealth. Deep down, I knew Tyler resented Emily's success as much as he resented mine. Her independence and determination stood in stark contrast to his entitled mindset. Emily never tolerated Tyler's games, often warning me privately about his intentions. She saw clearly what our parents refused to see, that Tyler would eventually cross a line so severe that there would be no turning back. Emily had been right all along. Tyler's resentment wasn't just petty jealousy, it was a ticking time bomb. He didn't just want what we had, he believed he was entitled to it. And now, at his own wedding, Tyler had finally made his move. He publicly declared himself a rightful heir to my late wife's legacy, demanding half of what Emily had worked tirelessly to build. Tyler finally saw clearly. This wasn't about money or business, it was about entitlement, manipulation, and decades of toxic family dynamics coming to a head. And for once, I knew I had no choice but to finally stand my ground. Sitting at Tyler's wedding reception, the atmosphere shifted instantly. My brother stood in front of all our family and friends, holding the microphone confidently, wearing a smirk that made my stomach churn. Family is everything, Tyler began, his voice smooth but insincere. We have to support each other, especially in times of loss. His eyes settled directly on me, making my pulse quicken. Some people, he continued, his voice tightening slightly, forget that family means sharing success, not hoarding it. I felt every eye turn toward me, confusion spreading across the guests' faces. Tyler paused dramatically, savoring the moment. Before Emily passed away, he announced she privately told me she was leaving me part ownership of her business. My brother Jason, being fair and honorable, will surely respect her wishes and share half the inheritance with me. It's only right. The room erupted into applause, as if Tyler had just delivered inspiring news. My face grew hot, my heart pounding furiously in my chest. Anger, betrayal, disbelief, all emotions hit me at once. But I knew immediately this was a carefully crafted trap. My eyes met Megan's, Tyler's bride. Her smile had faded into confusion, clearly unaware of Tyler's announcement beforehand. Then I saw my mother clapping enthusiastically, while my father looked at the table awkwardly, avoiding eye contact. It was a setup. Tyler had planned this all along, counting on public pressure to force my compliance. The applause subsided, replaced by a deafening silence. Everyone stared at me, waiting for a response. Tyler's smirk deepened, challenging me silently. This was his moment of triumph, or so he believed. But I was prepared. Something in my gut had warned me earlier, prompting me to bring Emily's official documents. Slowly, I stood up, my chair scraping softly against the wooden floor, capturing everyone's attention. Tyler's smile faltered slightly, clearly not expecting my calm response. Without a word, I pulled out a neatly folded stack of papers from inside my jacket pocket. My hands were steady, my voice calm but firm. That's interesting, Tyler, because Emily's official legal documents say otherwise. Tyler's smirk vanished, replaced by confusion and irritation. What are you talking about? He demanded, suddenly defensive. I unfolded the papers slowly, deliberately taking my time. The silence was tense, thick with anticipation. Emily's will, business contracts and personal notes, make it explicitly clear. She left you absolutely nothing. The room gasped collectively, shocked murmurs spreading through the crowd. Tyler's face turned red with anger. That's not true, he shouted. Emily herself told me. I raised my hand calmly, cutting him off. When exactly did Emily tell you this? Because unless you spoke to her after her death, that conversation never happened. Tyler sputtered, anger flaring. You're lying. She wanted me involved. No, Tyler, I interrupted firmly. Emily knew exactly who you were. She warned me multiple times that you'd try something like this. Without hesitation, I reached back into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Tyler's eyes widened as I pressed play. Emily's voice filled the room, crystal clear, recorded months before she passed. Jason, if Tyler ever tries to claim ownership or demand anything after I'm gone, don't let him manipulate you. He'll do whatever it takes to get his hands on what he thinks he deserves, but you owe him nothing. Stay strong, protect what we've built together. Absolute silence. Tyler's face drained of color. Megan stared at him in shock, disbelief etched on her face. I didn't feel victorious, I just felt exhausted. But standing there, exposing Tyler's lie, I knew something had changed forever. The quiet that followed Emily's recorded words was deafening. The joyful atmosphere of the wedding reception was gone, replaced by shock, discomfort, and rising tension. Tyler stood frozen, his jaw tightening, his eyes wide with panic. Megan, his bride, looked devastated, her gaze shifting between Tyler and me, struggling to comprehend the depth of his deception. Finally, Megan found her voice, soft but filled with hurt. Tyler, you told me Emily wanted you to have a share because she felt guilty about something. Were you lying to me too? Tyler spun toward her desperately. Megan, babe, it's not like that. I was just... No, Megan interrupted sharply. Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes were fierce and clear. I believed in you. Trusted you. Was any of this real? The guests began whispering nervously among themselves. My parents seemed caught between embarrassment and disbelief, unable to accept the truth unfolding in front of them. Yet somehow I felt detached, numb from the intensity of the moment, like an observer rather than a participant. But the confrontation was far from over. Taking a deep breath, Megan stepped forward, addressing the crowd. There's something else everyone should know. Her voice strengthened as she spoke. Tyler took a $50,000 loan from my savings last year. He said it was an investment, a guaranteed success. But now there's nothing left. She held up her phone, showing the bank account balance clearly. This is my life savings, $143. That's all Tyler left me. The crowd gasped loudly. My stomach churned with a mix of sadness and disgust. My mother clutched my father's arm, visibly shaken. Tyler's face flushed with humiliation, anger, and panic. Megan, wait, we talked about this. You knew it was risky. No, Megan snapped, shaking her head. You talked, Tyler. You made promises. But today I finally understand you never planned to earn that money. You gambled everything on Jason's inheritance. My heart dropped. Suddenly everything made sense. Tyler had counted on me, caving to social pressure, handing over half of Emily's legacy to cover his failures. His scheme wasn't just greedy, it was cruel, manipulative, and selfish beyond imagination. I clenched my fist, my anger rising. You never intended to work for anything, did you, Tyler? I challenged. You just expected me to bail you out. Again, Tyler turned to me, eyes blazing defiantly. Work for it? You didn't earn it either. You married into money, you got lucky. That accusation ignited a fire inside me, yet somehow I managed to keep my voice steady. Emily earned every single cent. She built her business through sheer determination and courage, qualities you'll never understand. Tyler opened his mouth to respond, but I wasn't done. There's one more thing everyone should know, I said clearly, reaching into my jacket once again and retrieving my phone. My voice was quiet but resolute. Your creditors filed fraud charges against you, Tyler. It seems your investments weren't just risky, they were illegal. His face turned pale, panic replacing defiance. Wait, what? I held my phone up, showing everyone the police report I'd received earlier. They want their money back. Tyler. All of it. You're officially under investigation. At that moment, sirens echoed out and an officer stepped into the reception hall, scanning the room intently. Tyler's eyes darted wildly, and before anyone could react, he bolted toward the door. Guests gasped. Megan didn't move, standing frozen, watching Tyler flee. My mother screamed, rushing forward as if she could somehow shield him from consequences. My father stood, stunned and speechless, finally recognizing the depth of Tyler's deception. The officers quickly pursued Tyler, radios crackling. Silence descended again, broken only by my mother's soft, frantic sobbing, turning toward me, her eyes filled with accusation and betrayal. How could you do this, Jason? He's your brother? My voice was steady, calm, but firm. Tyler did this to himself. I simply stopped protecting him from the consequences. For the first time in my life, I saw clarity in my father's eyes. He stepped toward my mother, gently guiding her back to her seat. It's time, he murmured quietly, to stop making excuses for Tyler. Standing amidst the chaos, I felt no joy, only sadness and relief. The lies had finally been exposed, and the truth, harsh as it was, had set us all free. The silence that filled the reception hall after Tyler fled was suffocating. Guests stared awkwardly at their plates, whispering quietly among themselves. My mother's face was pale, her expression torn between denial and disbelief, while my father sat beside her, weary as though finally seeing clearly for the first time. Megan, still dressed beautifully in her wedding gown, turned to face the guests, her voice steady but laced with quiet hurt. I never imagined I'd spend my wedding day like this, learning the man I married was someone I didn't even know. She looked directly at me, eyes pleading for understanding. Jason, I genuinely believed Tyler when he said he had a legitimate business idea. He was persuasive, charming, and I thought he loved me, but he only saw me as a bank account. My heart twisted for Megan. While part of me was angry she believed Tyler's lies, another understood how convincing Tyler could be. He had a gift for making others trust him even when they shouldn't. Quietly, Megan continued, I feel foolish now, but he convinced me to loan him money, my entire savings. He kept promising returns were just around the corner, telling me to trust him. I thought our future was secure. Her voice cracked slightly. I never imagined he'd risk everything, counting solely on Jason's inheritance as his backup plan. Whispers spread through the crowd, a mixture of sympathy and anger. A few family members shifted uncomfortably, realizing they'd been manipulated too. My father's expression was pained, the weight of reality finally hitting him. My mother, however, still stared stubbornly forward, unwilling or unable to accept the truth about Tyler. Slowly, Megan turned back to me, her expression weary yet determined. Jason, Tyler's betrayal has left me with nothing financially, but it's opened my eyes. I'm filing charges because I refuse to let him get away with stealing my future. I nodded solemnly. You deserve better, Megan. Everyone does. Tyler made his own choices. You don't need to bear their consequences alone. Just then, an officer returned inside, announcing firmly, we've apprehended Tyler Carter. He's being taken into custody. The finality of those words echoed sharply. Tyler had gambled everything, his relationships, family bonds, and financial security, on greed and entitlement. And now reality had caught up to him. My mother rose abruptly, her voice trembling. Jason, fix this. He's your brother. You can't let him go to jail over money. I met her gaze, keeping my voice gentle but firm. This isn't about money, Mom. It's about accountability. Tyler has spent his life believing actions have no consequences. Protecting him hasn't helped, it only made things worse. My father finally spoke up, softly but firmly. Jason's right. Tyler made these choices himself. It's not Jason's responsibility to save him, not anymore. My mother looked shocked, betrayed, even turning silently to my father. But he simply shook his head, clearly exhausted from years of protecting Tyler's mistakes. At that moment, I realized something profound. Tyler's actions had deeply hurt us all, not just financially, but emotionally, damaging trust built over decades. The betrayal ran deep, but confronting the truth was necessary. It forced our family to face what we'd ignored far too long. Standing there, watching the aftermath unfold, I felt no triumph, just a deep sadness mixed with relief. Tyler's deception had finally been exposed. While painful, the truth had also freed us from years of toxic family patterns, allowing each of us a chance to heal and move forward wiser than before. In the days and weeks following Tyler's arrest, my family changed dramatically. Conversations were difficult, tensions lingered, but for the first time, they were real and honest. Tyler's betrayal had forced all of us, especially my parents, to confront the truth about the toxic dynamic we'd allowed for so many years. For me, the experience was deeply painful, yet eye-opening. It made me realize how long I'd carried guilt, undeserved guilt, for simply living a stable and successful life. Tyler had conditioned me to feel responsible for his failures, convincing me, subtly yet persistently, that his unhappiness was somehow my fault. But losing Emily had shifted something within me. Her strength, courage, and clarity became my guide, reminding me that loving someone didn't mean allowing them to mistreat or exploit you. She taught me that setting healthy boundaries wasn't selfish, it was necessary for my own well-being. As Tyler faced legal consequences, my mother struggled to accept reality. But eventually, even she had to admit that protecting Tyler from the consequences of his actions had done nothing but enable him to continue his destructive behavior. For the first time, my father stood firm, refusing to rescue Tyler yet again. His quiet strength became a powerful example to me. One evening, my father visited me at my home. We sat quietly, sharing a conversation that had been years overdue. I'm sorry, he finally said, his voice gentle but sincere. We failed you. Your mother and I were so determined to protect Tyler, we never realized how much we were hurting you or even him. Maybe if we'd let him face consequences earlier, things would have been different. I nodded slowly, accepting his apology with relief. Dad, it's okay, it's painful, but maybe now we can finally heal as a family. He smiled sadly. Healing will take time, but at least now it's possible. His words stuck with me. Healing was possible not just for me, but for Megan, my parents, and even Tyler, wherever his journey would take him next. Each of us had choices ahead, how we treated one another, the boundaries we set, and what behaviors we chose to accept or reject. Through this experience, I learned powerful lessons about family, responsibility, and self-respect. Love does not mean tolerating betrayal, manipulation, or exploitation. True love demands accountability, mutual respect, and healthy boundaries. I share my story to remind anyone in similar situations that setting boundaries and holding loved ones accountable is not only justified, it's essential. Allowing toxic behavior to continue unchecked only causes deeper pain and damage in the long run. Standing up to Tyler was one of the hardest things I ever did, yet it also brought immense relief, clarity, and healing. For the first time, I felt truly free from the guilt I'd wrongly carried for years. If my experience resonates with you, remember, your peace matters. Your boundaries matter. Don't hesitate to choose yourself. After all, true strength lies in the courage to demand respect, even from family. Today, my life is different, calmer, healthier, and freer. Tyler's choices are no longer my burden. And though our family dynamics may never fully recover, the truth has given us all space to heal genuinely. I share this story with you because family conflict, betrayal, and toxic relationships are far more common than we realize. Maybe you've experienced something similar, or perhaps you're quietly carrying burdens placed upon you by those who should care for you most. Remember, your worth is not defined by the expectations or entitlement of others, even family. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish or unloving. It means you respect yourself enough to demand fair treatment and accountability. In fact, holding loved ones responsible for their actions can be the most compassionate act of all. If this story touched you or offered clarity, please let me know in the comments. Share your experiences and how you've navigated difficult family dynamics. By speaking openly, we help others feel less alone, empowering each other to break free from toxic cycles. Don't forget to like this video, share it widely to reach those who need to hear it most, and subscribe to The Art of Revenge for more stories about reclaiming your strength.